I recently discovered DCappella through their holiday album and fell completely in love with them. If you are unaware of who they were, like I was, I feel completely ignorant. They are an a cappella group. They sing primarily Disney songs, and the holiday album was not Disney. But they do have an album released in 2018 called DCappella, and there are a lot of songs on this that are just incredible. Now, oddly, the ones that I thought I'd like the most, I didn't really care for that much, and there were some surprises that I wasn't sure how I'd, if I'd like them or not. So that I just go through the songs. There are some that I don't really have any thoughts on that I'm not that bothered about, but there are some that I really, really loved, and some that I was a little let down by. So we start off with the tune-up and The World Es Mi Familia, and then we go straight into Friend Like Me, which is a beautiful song, and this is definitely a great way to start the album with a full track. It's a wonderful song that a lot of people love, and it's gorgeous, but not as gorgeous as the next song. The next song is How Far I'll Go, of course, from Moana. It's stunning. If I didn't know it was a cappella, I wouldn't have guessed it was a cappella. The harmonies are insane. The solos are so beautiful. It is stunning, and I think it's got to be my favourite song on this album. It is ridiculously gorgeous. Unfortunately, the next one let me down because I feel like it detracts from the beauty of the first song. This is a mashup of Let It Go and Do You Want to Build a Snowman from Frozen, of course. Both great songs, but Frozen is hauntingly beautiful, and it begins with that song on its own, and it is stunning. It really is stunning. But then Do You Want to Build a Snowman begins to trickle in, and I just think it completely detracts from how gorgeous Let It Go is, and I just don't think it works. It doesn't work at all for me. Technically, it probably does. I'm not musically minded. I've never created a mashup, but it sounds, everything seems to flow well together. None of the chords are particularly jarring. Everything works really well, but I feel like it removes some of the power of Let It Go, and that's a shame. I Want to Be Like You, the monkey song, obviously absolutely brilliant, very lively, great fun. The same with You'll Be in My Heart. Not quite as lively, but beautifully sung, absolutely stunning version of a really great song. Then we have When She Loved Me and Trashin the Camp. When She Loved Me is not a song I cared for, I was indifferent towards, but actually listening to it on here, I've grown to really like it and might actually actively seek out listening to it. Not so much for Trashing the Camp. Then we have another mashup, Part of Your World and A Whole New World. Obviously Little Mermaid and Aladdin. Quite interesting that they chose to mash two songs from two different films. It works better than the Frozen one because neither of those songs is particularly breathtakingly, hauntingly beautiful like Let It Go is. It works quite well. Not a pairing that I would have chosen personally, but it's alright. It's not the best. I just don't feel like the mashups ever work that well when the songs themselves are so gorgeous. Of course, there are exceptions, and I can name some. I won't, because I don't want to give a shout out to a different a cappella group in this video, but it can work. For me personally, it works more when you transition from one song to the next without stopping. But when you're kind of intertwining them and weaving back and forth, it's not as good. Then we have one song, and then we have Immortals and Remember Me. The last two songs wasn't really that bothered about. Nothing wrong with them, quite pleasing to listen to, obviously vocally fantastic. Step in Time is unusual. I saw the name on the album and thought, is that Step? Well, of course it's Step in Time from Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is my favourite Disney, one of my top 5 favourite films of all time. The song is one of my favourites. But when it started playing, I actually questioned whether or not it was the same Step in Time. It just doesn't sound like it at all for a good few seconds. And then once it gets into it, it's not the best. It's definitely an interpretation of the song rather than just an a cappella version of the song, which is fine. It's interesting, but unlike, say, How Far I'll Go, it's not just a beautifully sung version of a very popular song. It's a bit more creative, and that means it's a little bit more difficult to listen to because my brain's wanting to listen to either the film version or the stage version, but this is not giving me what my brain expects. But it's not bad. I genuinely adore this album. There are some weak links, but the things that are really good are really, really good. DCappella are on YouTube, which I don't understand how I've never come across their channel before. But if you get a chance to check them out, I thoroughly recommend you do. I think you'll absolutely adore them, and honestly, How Far I'll Go is one that I will come back to time and time again. It is beautiful.